Once upon a time, in a small town nestled in the heart of a dense forest, there lived two boys named Jake and Jack. They were twins and looked identical in every way. However, their childhood was far from perfect. Their parents were abusive, and they would often beat the twins for the slightest mistakes. The boys were scared and traumatized, but they had each other. They made a pact to stick together and never let anyone harm them again. One night, the twins decided that they had enough of their parents' abuse. They snuck sleeping pills into their drinks and waited for them to fall asleep. Once their parents were unconscious, they dragged their bodies into the forest and threw them into a deep pit they had found earlier. The twins felt relieved but also scared of what they had done. They thought that their parents would come back to haunt them. They tried to forget about what they had done, but every night, they would hear their parents' voices calling out to them. One night, the twins decided to visit the pit where they had thrown their parents' bodies. They found themselves chanting and dancing around the pit. They felt a strange energy surrounding them, and it felt like their parents were there with them. From that night on, the twins would visit the pit every night and dance and chant around it. They were slowly losing their minds, and their bodies were wasting away. But they couldn't stop. They felt like their parents were somehow still alive and were watching over them. The townspeople soon noticed the twins' strange behavior and avoided them. They whispered behind closed doors about the strange rituals that the twins were performing. Some even claimed to have seen the twins' parents' ghosts roaming around the forest at night. The twins' obsession with the pit and their parents' deaths continued for years, and no one knew what had become of them. Some say that they still dance and chant around the pit every night, while others claim that they have disappeared into the forest forever. Years after the disappearance of the twins, a hunter ventured deep into the forest, searching for game to hunt. As he made his way through the dense undergrowth, he stumbled upon a clearing. There, he saw one of the twins, Jake, feasting on a deer. Jake had changed. His once identical features were now twisted and gnarled, and his eyes had an unholy light in them. The hunter was terrified and fled the clearing, warning the town not to venture into the forest. Most of the townspeople heeded the hunter's warning, but a group of 3 teenagers, bored with their mundane lives, decided to explore the forest's edge for fun. They had heard about the strange happenings and the mysterious disappearance of the twins and thought it would be exciting to explore the forest. As they reached the forest's edge, they stared in awe at the dense foliage that lay ahead. One of the teenagers, a thrill-seeker, was drawn towards the forest and stepped forward. His friends called out to him, but he didn't respond. As he stepped further into the forest, his friends heard him scream. They raced towards the sound, but it was too late. He was gone, swallowed by the darkness that lay within the forest. The remaining 2 teenagers, shaken and scared, ran back to the town, warning the people to stay away from the forest. The townspeople shuddered in fear, wondering what had become of the twins and what lurked in the forest. The legend of the twins and the forest became the stuff of nightmares, and people avoided the forest at all costs. But some say that on quiet nights, you can still hear the faint sound of chanting and dancing coming from the heart of the forest.